to geek out and say it's Friday and we're having fun?
I'm
What?
sorry.
What?
Like, if people could see how awkward we were beforehand while we're waiting for the intro to go, and we're just sitting, it was too funny. I kept looking back and forth between you and Stuart's like looking at the screen, and you're like awkwardly looking at Stuart to get the cue, and it was more than I could take this week. So I'm sorry.
So welcome to Geek Out and say happy Fiesta. Fiesta started yesterday.
Yeah, I can't grito very well, or I would totally do it.
Oh, I don't want to like bust
the microphone in people's ears. Yeah, so
I can do a lot louder than that.
Yes.
So yeah, we're talking about a Geeky Fiesta, and
well, I think Fiesta just in general is something that we can talk about too, because we are from San Antonio, so I think we can own that, right? And talk about one of the celebrations from our city, because it is very unique. And it's not something that people do.
Right.
And as far as people that are history geeks, we actually have some friends that are history geeks that are not from San Antonio, that are actually not even from Texas, who are really interested in all of this. So I think that it's just something that we can talk about and talk about the history. I didn't even really, because I grew up with it, consider the history and where like things came from and what they were. So I've done a lot of research over the past couple of years. And
Alexa, turn on the studio lights.
I thought you looked shadowy, yeah. I don't know that helped much. It's your hat, maybe.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like I'm pixelated anymore.
No, I kind of fixed that.
Oh, you fixed it right before I turned it on?
Yeah.
So
always the technical difficulties.
No, there's a lot of, I don't know why orange is showing up as green. I don't, what green tint could be in orange? I don't know.
I don't know, because it's red and yellow. The yellow, it's the yellow.
So, yeah, well, there's a lot of things that, if you look at it from a history aspect, it can be very geeky for the history geeks.
Right.
Some of the stuff like Ray Feo and stuff like that, the Ugly King, was done to like poke fun at like royalty.
Right. Well, and I didn't even realize how long ago that this began, and that this began, back in the 1890s with the Battle of Flowers Parade. So it is something that has been going on for a very long time. And actually the Battle of Flowers Parade began with women, and they wanted to honor the soldiers that had fallen in the Battle of the Alamo and the Battle of San Jacinto. Said that totally wrong because I got nervous. And live TV. And so they actually pelted one another, like literally threw flowers at one another, to celebrate and kind of in a mock battle way. And then they were honoring those soldiers that had fallen. And they were just going to do it as this one parade event. And then it kind of stuck. And everybody was like, well, let's do it again to celebrate the next year. And then a few years later, it was like, well, let's do the parade and have some other things. And there was dances and there was other things. And so it slowly began to build from that one parade and became this celebration in San Antonio, that what it is today.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know if people in San Antonio nowadays know why. I think we should go have history lessons in the street. Because I think people party just to party, right? Yeah. A lot of time it's just a party. So,
and then when also like another cool thing, like when they're doing the parade on the floats, all of the women that are in the royal court, they'll show their shoes. Like, look at my shoes.
I don't know.
I don't know what that's about.
What the history is. I would have to look that up. So I have actually never. Well, I thought I had never been to the Battle of Flowers Parade, so we got tickets to go this year because I wanted to experience it, because that is what started the whole event, right? Is the Battle of Flowers Parade. But my mom says she took me when I was a little kid. I don't remember, probably because I was a little kid, so I don't remember that. So I'll be interested to see what. kind of take note of what some of the things are, what some of the cultural things are, what some of the celebratory things are. Like, show me your shoes. I want to know what is that about? Why is that something that we do? To find out a little bit about that.
I think the whole show me your shoes was because you could never see their shoes because it was under a dress.
Oh.
And they usually don't wear pretty shoes that go with the dress. They're because they have these big dresses that are so heavy,
like
and they've got to cart them
shoes.
around. They've got tennis shoes on.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think they kind of bling up the tennis shoes and wear like cute tennis shoes or something. But yeah.
And I wanted to give a shout out to Jaybird Videos. I actually did a video with him that we did over the weekend.
That is super hilarious. Yeah. So everybody should go check that out.
Check it out up here. I'm gonna try to work that in a card because I haven't done a card yet before, but I'm gonna try right there. So go ahead and check that out.
And it's called Vato Rangers.
Mm-hmm. It's called Vato Rangers, so it's like Power Rangers, but they're Vatos.
But with the Vatos. So it's pretty funny. I laughed a lot. Y'all kind of cracked me up with that. So I can't wait to see y'all do some more of those.
Yeah, really and we have he's writing the apparently he's gonna make me do a grito in the script right now that he
good. You can hear him do a really.
So Black
good
and Silver
one,
Diamonds said San Antonio's 300th anniversary this year, guys. Yes, and that's a big thing that they've showed out, especially in the medals, the Fiesta medals.
Right. So I wanted to talk about the Fiesta medals because for me,
you like how I led you into that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is one of my newest obsessions is the Fiesta medals. And it kind of started by accident. Like, I had collected a couple that I thought, they're pretty and I should have a medal because I go to Fiesta and, we've taken the kids to King William and we've gone to Yosa several years in a row. And so I was like, oh, I'll get a couple. So then last year was when the kind of geeky culture meshing thing started to happen, or that I started to notice that it was happening, right? And so that was what catapulted me into getting medals, was this Geeky Fusion. So, and I have them to show them off. So the first one that got me started was actually Representative Diego Bernal. And he does a food drive, and he's actually doing his food drive tomorrow for his medal. His medal is not Star Wars themed this year, but that's okay. It was Star Wars themed last year. And if you could see it, it's really cute because Leia's buns are pan dulce. And then it has Chewie has chicken on a stick. And it's just really cute. So this one that he's going to be giving tomorrow, you told me is...
Yeah, that one's more of a Stranger Things motif.
That's right.
So it has 11 on there with a bloody nose, and it has the number 10 for Whataburger on there, and it has 11 on there.
Nice. And it has Manu, right? She's thinking of Manu and tacos.
Yeah.
Because there was this whole San Antonio, Austin, taco battle this year. It was a thing. It's a thing. San Antonio and Austin always battle each other. So so that was the first one that I got that was geeky. And so I was really hype about that. And I was excited. And I was like, at least somebody is doing something geeky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to Corneation.
Yeah.
So Corneation is a drag show, comedy.
But that's really geeky too.
It is really geeky. It picks fun at kind of San Antonio culture, pop culture, San Antonio kind of royalty and people that are kind of up and in San Antonio. So it's really fun. So we happened to be there, and Ray Feo is there. The Ugly King from that year is there. So he has his medal, and he gave us ones for free. He was giving them to people for free. And sometimes you can get them for free, and sometimes you have to pay. So what we missed... That was a really
cool one, yeah.
So this is his medal. And what we missed was he got the 501st to march in the parade with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had missed that. I didn't see that announcement ahead of time. So here we have this spectacular Star Wars medal, and then the 501st marched in the parade. So we had all of that geek culture brought into Fiesta, which is on a huge scale because a lot of people attend the parade and watch the parade. It's even televised. So I was like, oh, wow, that's super, super amazing. I can't believe that's going on, right? So then this year, I'm looking around trying to see, what geeky medals, but kind of, not really paying attention. And all of a sudden, I find out that Dragon's Lair, which we love Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
Dragon's Lair is a store that we go to often to play games and to purchase things, and they've helped us with our
And
gaming
comics and
convention
stuff
in
like
the
that.
past. So they commissioned a medal, and this is the first year that they've had a medal, and they commissioned it from a friend of ours, an artist here in San Antonio, Freddie Lopez, and he's going to be on the show soon, but he's actually on a deadline to do some art, and he had to work and couldn't come, but he is going to come soon. So this is his medal, and you can pick these up at Dragon's Lair. So not only is this geeky, not only is it from Dragon's Lair here in San Antonio, but it's from a local San Antonio artist that designed it. So I think that is really great, a really great way to support everything. And I like this one. It's got a weird texture, like as if it were 3D printed. I don't know. I know it's not, because I know they're like metal, but it's still like really interesting. So it's neat. It's Batman, and you can see that the Alamo is in the background, and then
Batman.
it comes up. The Tower of America comes up from there. So I thought that was all. So I'm looking more. So if anybody sees any others that are geeky, because I have medals, but they're not necessarily geeky. I like to get the ones that are either free or that the proceeds go to some kind of charity.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think I'm going to buy the McDonald's one this year, which is interesting that a big corporation like McDonald's, that's, an international corporation,
That's a San Antonio Fiesta
creates
medal.
a San Antonio Fiesta medal for us. Yeah. So it's like a flamenco dancing girl, and her dress is out, and it has the flowers and stuff, and then it has the little M for McDonald's, and she's all in red and stuff. So it looks really, really good. And their medal actually goes to the Ronald McDonald House, so it does.
Mm-hmm.
The proceeds go to support it. So that's another thing that people might not know about Fiesta medals is a lot of them, the proceeds go to some kind of charity.
Well, the Fiesta events, the proceeds go to charities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things if it's a Fiesta event, that the proceeds need to go to a charity.
To a charity.
In order to be an official Fiesta event.
I think that's something that we want to look into. Especially, we've been talking about it since next week. We'll be talking about International Tabletop Day, which was why we did Fiesta this week.
Yeah.
Because International Tabletop Day actually falls on Saturday.
So it falls
Fiesta.
on Fiesta.
It falls on Fiesta.
But it's not an official Fiesta.
It's not an
event
official Fiesta
yet.
event. But I think it might be interesting to do some kind of something. Although I had looked into doing this a couple of years ago, and I thought, man, it would be really interesting if we could do an official Fiesta event and have like the historical miniatures, because there's a Lone Star historical miniatures group, and have them
do the Battle of the Alamo.
do the Battle of the Alamo as
Yeah.
like a miniatures game. But there's nothing that's written up yet, so somebody would have to kind of write that out. There was something that I saw that somebody had tried to write up many years ago, but the gaming system was kind of rough. It was a little rough, and it wasn't great. But I thought, man, that would be great if we could find some.
Well, I thought Marcelo did one.
He did something, so he was going to share that with us so that we could talk about it. So I think that would be interesting to do some of that gaming. There's not necessarily that it's Fiesta, but kind of there's a little like Rio Grande Games does this little piñata game.
I like that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, maybe we could find some games that were like that, and we could introduce people in a Fiesta way to some of these games that maybe they could play like with their families. And
They're
stuff
telling
like
us
that.
we need to make a Fiesta medal. That is
We're
So
in the
that's
works.
something that we're working on too. And what I want to do
for next year.
the other thing that I've seen a lot at Fiesta is the big hats, the big sombreros
Yes.
that people have decorated. So, people wear those around downtown, and I wish we had pictures. I should have thought to have pictures to show people that aren't aware of what it's like. But I definitely want to make one of those next year when I'm not busy and going to college. I want to have a ridiculously huge hat with different geeky things on it to kind of take down town and let people see too. I think I'm not as afraid anymore to do those kinds of things as I would have been a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that I'm seeing these medals and stuff come out, and I'm seeing other people, they're kind of letting their geeky side fly. And I have a friend who makes the Fiesta hats. She made a Cubs one last year, Valerie.
Yeah.
She made one for Coco, the movie, this year, and it's spectacular. So she asked me, could we do geek ones next year? And I was like, yeah, I think we totally should. So we might do that. I think that might be fun. It's almost like Fiesta cosplay, really.
Yeah.
Like,
But like a lot of people get a lot of attention with those hats.
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody wants to take pictures with them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the fun. It's almost like my first convention experience going to Fiesta. There's a lot of crowds. There's a lot of bumping into people. There's a lot of people dressed in wild things and that people are taking pictures of. It's like a convention, but like Fiesta. So
Yeah, it is.
if you think about it,
That's kind of it. Kind of is like a convention. So if you ever wanted to do something like that, I know a lot of people, especially in the geek community, is like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's just drinking and getting beer spent on. It is that.
it is that.
It is that.
It is that.
But it's a lot
It
more
is
than
that.
that too. There's a lot of stuff to see, and there's a lot of other things that
And I think it depends on the
like.
events
Like if you
go
do
to.
stuff like corneation, which is really good, or if you do something like the King William's
King
Fair.
William's Fair. I was going to suggest that too.
All right, King William Fair, or
King
whatever.
William. Yeah, I think it's King William Fair. I don't know.
So-
We used to take our kids to that, and that's
Mhm.
not too terrible.
But that one's pretty kid friendly.
And you kind of learn, like, if you don't super like the crowds, when you can go and
Yeah.
when it's not as crowded. And always, of course, if you go earlier in the evening, and that's nice too. You can go earlier in the evening, spend a couple of hours there, see some hats, trade some medals, get some food, hang out with your friends. and
Market
then-
Square, brisket tacos, really good.
Yeah, super great.
Yeah.
We're going to go get some of those this year for sure.
Mhm.
And I think that has also become a big part of it is the food. The food has become a big part of the celebration and what
Yeah,
we do.
it
So
has.
I
So,
was thinking,
A big thing that I would have every year when we go to Nyosa, we get the Shy Poke eggs, which it's like a nacho, and it has the white cheese on there, and then it has the yellow cheese on there, so it looks like a sunny side up thing, but under the yellow cheese is like a jalapeno.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
so we always
really
go
cool.
and get those. And one of the most famous things that people get that's actually on Diego's medal here is chicken on a stick.
Mhm.
So it's literally a stick like you would get a sausage on normally, but it's a big flattened piece of chicken and usually a jalapeno on top.
Yeah.
Pickled jalapeno on top. So I was thinking we could rename some of the food items and like have our own inside like geeky jokes about the food. So that chicken on a stick could be like pork on a stick. And we could be like, I'm going to go get some more of my pork on a stick. And then make Stuart shake his head. He'd be like, no, I'm not being part of that.
No, you just go and get all the deep fried whatever. Deep fried Oreo.
Oh, yeah, anything deep fried you can have. And
yeah.
then you would want anyway because it's more delicious when you deep fry it. And then dump sugar on top of it. Because we're one of the fattest cities in the United States too. And now you're going to know why.
It's because of the food.
If you come to Fiesta, you'll know why. It's really tasty
Food.
food. So I was thinking, what else could we name something geeky? I don't know what else. What other geeky thing we could name? Well, the sangria could be like from the Red Wedding or something. It could be Red Wedding juice or something. We could just rename all kinds of things and just like go and.
I'm gonna have to check what all it takes to become a Fiesta event, and
Yeah, because we
I
like
think
to
we
do
should-
things for charity. We always have a
Yeah.
charity event at our con every year, and we actually believe in it. We go and support Stephanie Newman, who is the head of the San Antonio Nerd Nighters, and she actually plays games for charity. And we go support her events and help the different charities. We've gone to the food bank and helped out over there. That's another thing I'd like to do is have an event at the food bank. So we definitely believe in helping charity. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do something sanctioned. It may
Yeah.
be like finding the space and making sure that you're downtown and
yeah.
how long can you be open and things
Well, I
like
don't
that.
even
So
think
know.
it's
doesn't
required
have
to
to
be
be downtown anymore?
because they have like Taste of the North Side and
Oh,
it's all-
that's
yeah.
true. I think it's more fun though to be downtown. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I mean, you're close to the
You never
Alamo.
know.
You're there at the epicenter of where everything, started and what it was. I think I have a new perspective on everything from having helped teach Texas history this year. Like I was never a history geek. You were. You're
Mhm.
always watching the History Channel and you love that stuff and you would always watch all the different shows and I'm like, history is more. But after teaching it, I feel like, man, we do a disservice teaching history. It's actually really exciting, and Texas is really pivotal to a lot of things that happen in the growth of the United States. And we have all of these super interesting, nuanced things that happen in Texas that I don't think people even realize or understand. Like the Alamo is a total failure.
Yeah.
Total and complete failure. And yet we're wrapped up in that battle because it's like Texas doesn't, well, no, we're not going to be failures. Like, forget it. It's not going to be a thing. Like, it becomes
that defeat was the call that made San Jacinto so good for Texas.
Right. It was what got everybody kind of riled up and got them all started. So.
But don't even get me on the Alamo thing, because I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about the Alamo?
No.
Why not?
Of why it was actually fought.
What do you mean?
The reasons it was fought, it wasn't fought for just independence.
Well, I mean, everybody in Texas was fighting at the time so that they could take the land from Mexico because they wanted the land from Mexico.
No, it wasn't just about that either.
And slavery?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Texas wanted to keep slavery. That's a big thing. That's a big thing with Texas. That's what
they don't talk about or gloss over in history books.
Wow. No, Texas loved slavery. I mean, we were a big plantation state. That was how they made it. And then, I mean, even when they were...
Oh, Geeky Hoodie's here. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going, Geek?
Even when they were discouraging slavery in Texas, we changed it and we became sharecroppers, which just meant that the rich landowners made all the poor people work for them for free, basically, because they put them in so much debt that they could never get out of it. So they were basically slaves anyway. So yeah, Texas does have a sordid past. Yeah, and those are some of the things that we do talk. We actually do talk to the students about that. That is something that we talk to. But one of the bigger things we talk about before the slavery option is that we are trying to do this manifest destiny. And we talk about the problems with manifest destiny as well, and this idea that it belongs to us because we want it, right? So we talk about a lot of that historical side too. Yeah.
So if you're a geek and you don't go to Fiesta, what do you do during Fiesta?
Stay home and play World of Warcraft.
Well,
I mean, I think people do what they normally... I think they just ignore it like it doesn't exist, which I think is a shame. Because I have seen that. When I worked at Citibank, I had several, like, geeky friends, and I would talk about doing something Fiesta, and they're like, is that still a thing? Like, why are we still doing that? That's so dumb. Why do you do that? And they just kind of ignore it like it doesn't exist, or they, shun it because they don't understand it or don't like it. And I don't think that... necessarily this is something that we come back to, that we in the geek culture should do that just because it's something you don't understand or you...
But it's mostly people that have not done it.
Right
is the thing.
And I get it. There was a time, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a time when there was no way you were going downtown to Fiesta being yourself as a geek, right? There was no way. This was not something that was happening. This whole new embracing of geek culture is still really new to a lot of us, and it's still really something that we're getting used to.
Yeah. And
being able to accept ourselves as geeks, especially people our age, right? Just because there was such a big problem with it. So.
Well, Phil Nelson was from Nelco Media was telling he did a post where it's like, oh yeah, I've been here 20 years, I've never been to Fiesta. What? But yeah, well, maybe we could create something that has more of a, other than just doing it, because you can go get, did you talk about the pork thing?
Yeah.
So just like you can think about it, or maybe we can make something that was like, oh yeah, it's pork on a stick.
Yeah, I mean, you can do fun things like that.
Cut it in the shape of a pork.
Or even... like, if you think about it, even some of the movies that were filmed here in San Antonio, that in and of itself is geeky. Like,
Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger was filmed here in San Antonio. So it's these kinds of things that you can.
Knight Rider 2000 was filmed right here in San Antonio.
Oh, why did you have to bring that up? Why? High five, Stuart. Yes. I can't believe you brought that up. I knew he was going to harm you.
Right here in San Antonio.
But I think that there are so many different facets of the geek culture that happen here in San Antonio, and I don't see why it's not something that we could bring to Fiesta. I would actually love to see, I don't know, something more, and maybe it's out there and I don't realize it because I haven't been to every single Fiesta event and I don't know about every single Fiesta event, but something more to like speak to the history and talk about the history. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if like the Institute of Texan Cultures or something does something like that. So I'm going to have to look into that and get back to you guys.
There's like a Fiesta store and they have a lot of that information there.
They do, but I don't know that it's necessarily like, I don't know. Now that I've kind of made that connection between Fiesta and a convention, I almost want to see more of this like panels and, you know what I mean? Like I want to see that kind of crossover to where Fiesta is kind of, there is this Fiesta event that's kind of like a convention.
Yeah.
Where it's these panels of speakers who speak about the history and talk about that and talk about things that have happened maybe here in San Antonio. And like I looked up the history of medals just because I started collecting medals, and I didn't realize how recent medals were. Mm-hmm. In 1890 is when the whole thing started with that first parade. And then fast forward to 1946, and the Cavaliers started giving out these little coins mm-hmm. to raise money for Children's Hospital. So they're giving out these little coins. They're giving out these. Fast forward again to 1960, and Josky's department store.
That's a blast from the past.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Finds out about these little coins and gives these, like the cardboard insert like you have for the quarters, you know, the quarters of the states, and you could buy the cardboard inserts and you put the coin in there. So they give out these singular cardboard inserts for these coins, and it had a hole at the top. Nobody knows why. So then people started giving each other ribbons, and they were wearing these coins around their neck. Mm-hmm. So that was like what they say is the first history of the medals. So then fast forward 30 more years to 1990, and in 1990 is when you first start to see your first actual like medals start to come out. And that was actually, I looked it up and I did some research on it last year. It was a military man, Childers. He wasn't.
That does sound familiar. Yeah.
He wasn't even from San Antonio. He had like been stationed in Germany, and there was something having to do with it's something German. That's all I remember. And I remember that was a unique connection because we have all these Alsatian towns and German influences here in Kerrville and in Castroville and in San Antonio. So I thought, here's some of that German influence coming back in as well. And the medals had something to do with some kind of festival that they had in Germany, and he made the first medal in 1990.
What? Yeah, and when you're talking about all these different types of, like, nationalities and stuff that were part of Fiesta, and you can experience that in Yosa.
Yeah, there's different little
regions that you can go through.
And that's really great because one of my students is actually doing his project, and I've been helping with him with that over the Six Flags Over Texas. And I feel so bad for him because it's been really difficult for him to research, because if you live in Texas, Six Flags of Texas is a theme park. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are trying to research the actual flags over Texas, like the Six Flags that have flown over Texas. Theme park information. Some more theme park information. Did you know that there's a theme park in Texas named Six Flags Over Texas? But we actually had 6 different flags flying over because of the different nationalities that actually purchased Texas, owned Texas at one time, claimed Texas at one time. So there is a lot of this melting pot in Texas because of all the different nationalities that were here that at one point owned part of it. Like, people don't realize that when Mexico got pushed out and the treaty happened, right? And so the Texans, the Republic of Texas, takes over this Texas land. a lot of the Mexican people were like, well, I've been living here forever. I'm just staying. And so they just stayed and they became part of it. And so their culture becomes part of this culture of Texas. So we have kind of this different uniqueness of how the Republic of Texas was built and who was already here. And there was already some German settlers here and some French here because of little parcels of land that they had had.
Right.
And so it all just kind of started to integrate and melt together. And so when we got ratified by the United States because we were in financial trouble, everybody just kind of stayed. Everybody was like, oh, you know, we're already here. And we were having problems with the Native Americans. So the U.S. was like, everybody that's already there, stay and help out. You know? And so it just became this kind of really unique thing. And so all those cultures definitely come out in the Fiesta events.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. You get to eat the food, which is the best.
Yeah, and I like that
Even
too.
though you
'cause then
probably
you're-
won't like escargot.
No, that's yucky. I don't like that. That's not good.
I had it once.
Never again.
I went with my sister.
I'm not an oyster fan either, and I don't know what the whole oyster. So there's a whole oyster celebration here too.
It's oyster bake, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's happening right now.
Yeah, is that at St. Mary's?
That's in St. Mary's, yes.
Yes. Is like the oysters their mascot or something? No, like I don't know what oyster bake is about. I'll have to look up the history of that, and we can talk about that next time. But that's like a big event. Oysters are disgusting. I don't know why there's a whole event about oysters.
People love oysters.
I don't get it. It's super, super gross. But people love it. But you know what? People were kind of balking at it this year because the ticket prices went up to like $30 a ticket.
Yeah. But
And-
they're trying to keep out.
Well, it got too big.
Yeah.
It got too big and there was too many
But the
people.
reason they do, because there are free events here in San Antonio for Fiesta, like the Market Square.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you can go down to Market Square, but anybody can go to the Market Square.
Right.
And then they started doing Iosa at a price. Back in the day, they had La Semana Alegre. That's the first time I ever saw Selena before she passed away.
Well, yeah,
Or
there's that.
shot.
Well, and that's a nice little thing, too, is there's concerts. There's usually concerts in the park and different little concerts that you can go to for Fiesta and stuff.
And there's different little pockets of little festivals that are happening here and there that you can just walk into and, you know, get some food, have some drinks.
Well, yeah, it's a 10-day celebration. So it's not like it's a little one-day thing. It's 10 days of different events that you could probably find something that you enjoy.
Somebody was trying to push it to be a month long. And they're like,
oh,
no, that's too
that's
much.
too much. That's too much.
I want to party for 30 days.
I think the 10 days is good. You know,
Yeah.
it starts on Thursday. It starts off kind of slow. There's, you know, a few events, and you can go to the carnival, and you can go to the different tastings and get different foods and stuff, and
Yeah, Russell says all I know is paying for parking can get a little crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So I wonder how that's
goes
going to
up.
work now with Uber and everything, if that's going to alleviate some of that with people being able to...
Or that thing, whatchamacallit, the Dale came on about.
But that's only downtown, so it's only
Yeah.
if you're already downtown.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the Via is a good
Pedicabs.
way for people... Yeah,
Yeah.
pedicabs. Via is a good way for people to get downtown and not to have to worry about parking. You just have to get your vehicle to a park and ride and then jump on a Via and go downtown. Especially, again, if you're going to go early, enjoy the event for a few hours and then go home before all the craziness happens.
Yeah.
Because it does tend to get... I am not a fan of the super crowdedness that happens at Nyosa, especially if you pick the wrong night and go on college night. Don't do that. It's not fun.
When are we going?
Wednesday.
We're going Wednesday.
We're going to go Wednesday. We're going to be there Wednesday of next week if y'all want to catch us.
So we'll be there. Catch us at Nyosa.
But I just think it's fascinating if people kind of open their eyes to it and see how fascinating it is and think about the meshing of the cultures and think about that this is the first parade to ever be started by all females. If you look at some of the history behind what is going on, and that's why I don't want people to lose that. I don't want us to forget that, because once I found all of that out, for me, it was more meaningful than it just being a party just for the sake of partying hard. You know what I mean?
And to a lot of people, it does mean that that have been around and been doing it for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just a party. It's a way to give back.
Yeah. But I did see that there was like a funny video that like some new San Antonio YouTubers did.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
they're about 5 months old. They're Bean and Cheese Man, I think they're called. So they did a
That's kind of funny.
like. So they're talking about. Well, they did a little skit about hood rats at Fiesta.
Uh huh.
So.
So maybe
it was
we
kinda
can
cool.
do a skit of like geeks at Fiesta.
Or maybe we can do the Rangers at Fiesta.
Hey, Jay
Jay
Bird.
Bird.
Not the Rangers at Fiesta. I think people would get a super kick out of that if y'all went to Fiesta like that. Like super duper, they would think that was really funny. I feel like we need to get you a new costume though. I don't know about your costume. I think it needs to be updated.
We need to I think we're all getting updates for the next episode. We're getting upgrades across the board.
Well, yeah, I think DJ said his shirt didn't fit, so he
Oh, that's what makes it good.
That's what makes it good. I know
Yeah.
all the
That part I
problems
kind of like.
are funny.
I hope they don't change that. But I enjoyed that aspect of it too. That his shirt was too small.
Yeah.
It's
comedy
comedic.
gold. It's comedy gold. It's comedy gold. So
Yes, he says he loves it. He said yes,
Yes,
with an
we're gonna do it.
exclamation point. So we're gonna do that.
So I think, again, I just think that we should go. I think that it's great to see that it started, that introducing the geek culture has begun for Fiesta, and I think that it's great to see that the geek culture has become
And it's only gonna grow.
more acceptable,
Yeah.
and so that it can grow. So I would love to see. I would love to see like games created. You know, and it doesn't have to be like create a whole gaming system that you try to sell to the whole universe, but you know, some one-off games that we create, you know, some role-playing games that are maybe centered around some of that history or something, or some little miniatures games. I think that would be really great to do. I think having little geek games, like maybe we could all come together and think of things and start like a geek website or something where we're like, okay, like you get 10 points if you go to Fiesta and take a picture of yourself with your, you know, and hashtag porg on a stick or whatever, or you know, do like little like geeky things like that. I think that we could inject the geek culture into these events and still enjoy the events for what they are as well. So I don't know. That's just me. And then I think you have to go to Yosa and get, you know, tortillas from the little old ladies making tortillas and like. I think I like some of that stuff.
It's tradition.
It's tradition. And to hear the music, the different music that's playing, and
I remember the first time I took you there, and you're like, "What? They're just tortillas." No, they're really good quesadillas. Just wait.
just
and
wait.
There's a big old line, Vince. It'll go fast. Just wait.
Just wait.
And we actually, I think for my great grandparents, their 50th, before they passed away, we had the Maria there.
And she's passed away since too,
Yeah, and she was making that for us.
That's great.
There at our party house back in the day.
Uh-huh.
So that was really cool. I enjoyed that.
I have to look and see. I would love to look and see just different San Antonio historical like people and things like that, and see if there's a place where all of this information is put together so that people can understand it more readily and understand. I don't think people who aren't from here or haven't visited here realize how big we are, but yet how small we are at the same time.
We're a big town with a small town, big city with a small town. What am I trying to say? Feeling.
Yeah.
Mentality.
We all have these connections, and we know these things, and would just like to see San Antonio like remember some of that and
We'll bring it
return
back
to some of that. Yeah, bring it back and make those connections
at the
and
Fiesta event, the Geeky Fiesta
The
that we
Geeky
create.
Fiesta
Don't steal it. I'm gonna do it.
Don't steal it. No, steal it. We're really tired. Steal
No,
it and do
okay,
it for us,
steal
and
it,
we'll
yes.
go and we'll attend it and we'll have a lot of fun because we have too much on our plates already.
True that.
I'm like, what are you saying? No, please encourage people to steal. Steal away. I don't need any glory.
We don't have to
just
do
need a
it
fun
now.
fiesta.
That'll work.
As long as we don't have to do it, it's fine.
That's right. As long as we don't have to do it, we're down. We're excited already.
Well, I got some interesting news today.
Oh yeah, what was that?
And I posted it on Game Expo.
Oh yeah, you can't leak it yet. We're gonna do a video on
Well, I already
International
leaked
Tabletop Day. Well, it was a tiny leak, but you can't leak it anymore. Stop talking. Shh, you're the worst. He's the worst. Like you can't tell him anything.
I'll cut your mic.
Yes, cut the feed. Cut the feed. No, you can't say until we do our big video on International Tabletop Day. No
Okay.
talkie. No talkie. We're like, be quiet, Vince.
But I did get some interesting information today, so that was kind of cool.
That's good. Now I'm trying to think of other geeky things that we could do. Like and one of my other geeky loves is Harry Potter. So I'm like, what other thing can I do that would be geeky? That would be Harry Potter-ish at Fiesta. I'm like,
A Fiesta Wand
Fiesta
that lights
wand.
up.
People would like Fiesta Wands. They actually really would like that.
What would make a Fiesta Wand?
Mm.
What will our Fiesta medal look like next year? Does somebody want to design it for us?
No. I don't want to design it. Oh, you mean somebody out there?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do
Not
it.
you.
I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't want to do it.
Don't let her bully you, Vince. Vince has the power.
Nah, because I'm going to go start sitting in his seat. And I'm going to have the power.
No. Never.
I want to trade seats.
I've been thinking about something, but not on YouTube. Where we switch.
That could
On
be
Facebook.
interesting
I'm
or
like,
not.
that sounds like really weird. I don't know what he's talking about. More to come. More things we don't
on
know.
Facebook.
Uh-oh.
What? I don't know. I'll find out.
Stream on Facebook. But switched. How does she not get it?
I feel like I'm that character in Big.
We're going to
I don't
stream
get it.
on Facebook, but you'll be sitting here and I'll be sitting there. It'll
But
be
while
for
we're doing the
Facebook
live?
only.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, Ernie Zuniga. Gross. People don't know who that is either. He's a local newscaster here in San Antonio. So I was kind of bummed. We actually did try to get Diego Bernal to come and be on the show, so that he could talk about some
I actually got an email back for that. We're not going to have, well, obviously we don't have him today. I told him about the show and I told him that we're talking about his medal today. He said, cool. And I'm working on it. I think we might have him May 11th.
Great. I mean, I would love to have him on so that he can talk about some of that, especially, you know, being where he is politically and being fond of geek culture and how he is integrating that. I love to hear how people are integrating the geek culture into different aspects of their workplace, of, you know, events that they go to. So I'm all about integrating the geek culture. If anybody follows me and what I do as a teacher, I definitely always try to integrate the geek culture into my teaching and what I do. Just this year alone, I brought comic books to school and had the kids read comic books and make their own comic books. So I wear geeky clothes all the time. I've worn my Harley Quinn dress a few times and people don't even know. Like, if they're not geeks,
Harley
they
Quinn.
don't even know that it's Harley Quinn. They just think it's a geometric dress that's black and red. So they're like, oh my gosh, that dress is so cute. I'm like, I'm being a geek and you don't even know it. I have issues. So but now I'm back to thinking about the Harry Potter thing. It would have to be like Mesquite wood,
One
right?
track mind.
No, I'm like a little like this and that, and I think of this thing over here, and I think of that other thing, and then I'm like, but it would have to be Mesquite wood, right? If it's from San Antonio, don't you think? It would have to be a mesquite tree.
It would smell like real nice.
It would smell like barbecue all the
Smell
time.
Like our barbecue, because we're like one of the only ones that uses mesquite. Because anybody doesn't use mesquite.
What?
Like all the big ones that I know of don't use mesquite.
Really?
They use like hickory. They'll use like applewood and all the fruit woods.
Uh-huh. But, I mean, isn't mesquite, I don't know, isn't that something that we always use here in San Antonio? Like, don't a lot of people cook with mesquite wood?
Oh, there's a pan de huevo on the Diego Bernal's.
On the
thing, too.
Stranger Things
Yeah.
one. The Stranger Things one looks good. So don't forget, if you want that Diego Bernal medal, he gives them to you for a good cause. You have to bring food for the food bank. And, like, don't be chintzy.
Yes, it is. It says right here, yes, join us Saturday, April 21st at 10 a.m. at Park North Sears lot on our Fiesta food drive. Be generous.
Yeah, don't be chintzy, because we saw that last
Stranger
year.
Things at SA Food Bank and at Tattoo Boy 123.
And just really quickly, because I know we've got to go really in just a couple of minutes, but go look at the food bank website and see what it is that they need. Normally, they need things like peanut butter and rice and beans and those perishable. And you can get rice and beans, a big old bag, for very inexpensively.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going to pay $10 for a medal anyway, it'd be great if you could do
like
$10 worth of food to give to the food bank. Yeah. Okay,
so go be there. We'll be there tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
So check us out there. But thanks for checking us out. If you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe to us. Like us on Facebook. Do all the social media stuff. We're there. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and that's Stuart.
Geek out, SA. Happy Fiesta.
Happy Fiesta!